Hey everybody, it's Dan Strong with Excel VBA is Fun. Today we have a question from Hazem, and his question goes something like this. If he has, let's say he has 1 to 8 employees scheduled, then he has to use the H1 vehicle. And if he has a 9 to 14, he has to use the microbus, and 15 to 26 employees, then he has to use the minibus, not the micro. And the price for the H1 is $200, the microbus is $230, and the minibus is $400 to use. It needs a formula to measure that, and I know you're thinking of simple VLOOKUP, but it gets a little more interesting. Now, if the number of employees are 28, then he has to use 2 microbuses, which is 14 plus 14, because he doesn't want to use a minibus and the H1, which would be for 26 people and for 2 people, because the cost of the 2 microbuses would be $460, but 1 minibus and 1 microbus would cost $402.30, which is $630. So he's wanting to get a formula that kind of does all that thinking for him. So I agree. I think you don't want to have to be calculating that out all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to paste some stuff here that didn't paste very well. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to set up a simple VLOOKUP table. I'm going to say from starting with 1, and the next one is, so it's 1 to 8, so really the next interval, the next threshold is 9, and then the next threshold is 15, and all the way up until infinity, I suppose. Well, and then 27. So 15 to 26 would be in this gap, and then 27 or over. We don't really have an answer to that. So I'm just going to put too high or something, I don't know. But anyway, let's see. So we have our, let's get our columns all figured out here. We've got number of employees. That's our first thing. Then we have the name. So 1 to 8 was the H1, and the price, and the price is here. So the price for the H1 is $200. The price for the microbus is $230, and then the price for the mini bus is $400. Okay, and then we just have too high. I guess we'll just put 0, and we'll build some kind of error or something for that. But anyway, here's our simple VLOOKUP table. Go ahead and bold these, and I'm going to take that out of the thing here, resize this a little bit. Let's go ahead and make that a VLOOKUP table. We'll just call it my table and name it. So that way when we go here, we have my table and it's a named range. So let's do a simple VLOOKUP just for fun. So we'll say number of employees, colon, and let's just test it out here on the worksheet before we get into any VBA, equals VLOOKUP. We're looking up what? Oops, no. We put the number of employees here, and then we'll do a VLOOKUP right here. How about price? We'll say name, and we'll say price. We'll do some VLOOKUPs here. Equals VLOOKUP of this, F4, okay, and we're going to look up that in the array called my table. Hit tab. In column 2 for the name, 0 for exact match. Now there's nothing in there right now. I'm going to copy it down, and we're going to use column 3 for the price. And then we'll also put an if error, I guess. How about if this equals blank, then nothing, otherwise do the VLOOKUP. We'll copy that down, and we'll make that column 3 for this one. Alright, so if we have 1 employee, then I did something wrong. What did I do here? No, I got these backwards. Alright, oops. This is column 2, and this is column 3, enter. So the price for that, why didn't that look it up? Oh, because we want an approximate match. Whoops. I'm so used to doing exact matches. An approximate match because we're using the number system here. So we're looking up. Oops, did I put this? I did. Alright, there's my second mistake. I put in my table, I selected the headers. So Alt-IND, that's a named range. We're going to edit this one. We're going to make it, instead of A5, we'll make it A6 through all that stuff. Alright, so I corrected that. Now, just to double check, my table, yeah, so because it's an approximate match, it's looking numbers, and if it sees text in there, it's going to get freaked out. So let's type that again. What's going on here? It's V looking up something funny. How about if G, okay, I see what I did. G10 also lock that into place if you're copying down a formula, silly. Now we can make this column 3. Alright, let's make that $1. So yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll scrunch that a little bit like this, and we'll just make these both left aligned so I don't go crazy. Same with this one. Number of employees. So if you type 1, it does that. If you type 3, let's type 9 microbus, and let's type in 50. It says too high. Okay, so yeah, let's do 15 minibus. Let's do 17 minibus. Okay, good. So we're on the right place. So now what we have to do, we need to go. Let's go back to here. We have to analyze if they have. Okay, so if they had 28 people in this scenario, the best deal finder, the best deal would, let's see, 28. Okay, we can't do the too high thing. We have to make this, do some analysis. So, let's see about that. Especially if you're using a Userform or something like that. We could probably get by with doing this with some formulas, but let's go ahead and analyze this with an VBA. Let's have it analyze, what is this, G10 in this worksheet? Yes, we'll go ahead and have it do that, and we'll have it spit out some VBA stuff here. So, yeah, let's do that. Hold Alt F11 with me here. Alright, let's see. Let's let's just go into sheet 1, and we'll do some worksheet stuff here. How about a worksheet change event? And let's go ahead and let's take a look here. Scooch that, and let's zoom in a little bit. So the target that we're worried about, let's do if not intersect the target intersecting with the sheet called sheet 1, and specifically the range G10 is the one that we're worried about right now. G10, yeah. So if basically what we're saying, if the intersection of the target with cell G10 is nothing, it's a double negative. If not, nothing. So if it is something, so if it intersects those two cells, the target being changed and again G10, then we do something, and otherwise it'll ignore it. And if so, what are we going to do if this is selected? We need to analyze the number. First of all, is it greater than 26? If it is, we need to split it up, and we need to find the best deal. So let's figure that out here. So if it's bigger than 26, just thinking out loud here, what did he say here? He said 2 of the microbuses would be the best deal for 28 people, because the total cost would be $460 versus $630 if you had one microbus and the other thing. So Okay, so we could just kind of analyze it all several different ways. Well, let's see here. I'm going to stare at the numbers for just a moment. Let's try to figure out what the price is per unit, I guess, for the maximum number of passengers. So within H1, here's the prices. Let's copy those down here. I just want to kind of analyze these a little bit. And the maximum number of people you're going to get out of this one is 8. Maximum number you're going to get out of this is 14. And the maximum number of people you're going to get for the minibus is 26. So let's get the price per unit. So we want to do this. Let's see. We're going to do this divided by this one. So $200 divided by 8 people is $25 a person. Yeah. So the H1 is the highest cost per unit. The minibus is the next, but that doesn't always solve the problem. So we'll just need to analyze this a little bit. Microbus is kind of in the middle. So yeah, that's a little bit tricky to figure out, but there is a way to analyze that where you always find the best deal. So let's make a deal saver program. So here we go. Let's capture it at least. So whenever G10 is changed, let's capture the value. The starting value equals the target, which we know is going to be G10. So let's just do that. Let's stop it right there. So it'll stop us whenever. So if I change this, it doesn't do anything, right? Because that's not G10. If I change this, even if I select it and hit enter, it's changed, and that's the target intersecting with that one. So the target equals, or stval equals target. So hit F8. Dang it. Target.value perhaps. Maybe that'll make it happy. Okay, yeah, so it's working just fine. It's just not giving me a preview for some reason. Yeah, so starting value does have the value of 28 at this moment, so that's fine. Alright, so it has 28. Let's analyze the value. And we only want to analyze it if it goes over the threshold, so if it's 27 or greater. So if stval is greater than 26, then that's when our analysis begins. Otherwise, just ignore it. Okay, but it is greater. So we need to split it off into chunks. Let's see. So the So we'll analyze this. Let's see. Actually, before I want to get into that, I want to analyze this a little bit more. I mean, let's see, I'm going to stop that for a second. So basically what he was saying is if you had 14 times 2, if you had exactly 28, then it was only $460 instead of having one of these $400 one and one of these $200 ones just to get the 28 people, which is barely over this minibus threshold. So I'm wondering, I'm going to run a scenario here. What if you had 3 microbuses, which is 14 times 3. So if you had 42 people, let's analyze the 42 thing. So if you had 42, that'd be 3 microbuses, which would be 230 times 3. Okay, so that'd be 600 for 3 microbus. And then the 42 also, that'd be 26. So if you had 2 minibuses, would that be overkill? Let's it's going to be 52. Well, it's still 42, but the cost would be 800 bucks. So, at what point do you just start using a microbus over a minibus? Is it when it's an exact multiple of 14? Or is it whenever see the minibus, if you had well, what's 26 plus 14 is you have 40 right there. So what if there was the number that was 40 instead of 42, right? So what if you had one microbus and one minibus? One micro, one mini. So if you had 40 right there and you had one of each, that would be 630 bucks. And then looking at it another way, well, is there another way? You could get, yeah, I mean, if you got two of these plus another one of these, that would be more. So that's a thinker. I think based on this, I mean, the minibus can handle a lot more people, and so the price per unit is a little bit less, but you have to really be carrying quite a big load to need a minibus. So I think we should subtract 26 hypothetically, but before we make the actual change, we need to analyze if the remainder is going to be another 26 or not. And if it isn't, we need to see if the microbus, if this is instead of minus 26, we should take out 14 and another 14, which we know will handle 28 people. Well, that'd be $460. But we need to assess if it's a little bit more per unit, but if that's all you have left, it's like 28, then that would be a better deal. If you had 29, you would need to, I really just need to see all the different variations. So I'm going to just type it all out. Let's see. Start with 26. We already have that one right here. So for 26 people, 26 people, you need a minibus. If you had 27, let's just go down the line. 26, 27. Let's go all the way to, let's say 50. 50. Let's do 53. $400. 27. You need. Unfortunately, you are stuck with getting an H1 and a minibus. So, which is, let's see. Well, hold on a second. Yeah. So you'd have to get for 27, you'd have to get a a mini plus H1. That'd be $600. And for 28, you'd have to do, let's see, I think that's going to be the same thing. $29. What are we getting away with here? 29, 30, 31. Now 32, let's see, is that right? 32 people. How many people can you fit with the mini and H1? You can get up to 34. So when you hit 35, you need to reanalyze everything. Okay, 35 people. So we have a mini and a micro, right? Wait a second. That was the whole thing. Is 2 microbuses would cover 28 people, or up to 28 people. And it'd be, so for this one and this one, it would actually be 2 micros, which would be 660 bucks. Wait, 2 micros? No, that'd be 460. So that's 2 micro, 460. You save some money that way. But when you get past 28, you do need to do the mini and the H1 together. It's your best bet. When you get to 35, let's see what's the combinations here. I think this is the only one that'll handle more than 35, is the micro and mini, which would be 630. And that will last you up until 40. And include 40. So do we have any of those? 14, what's 14 times 3? I think we did this a minute ago. So the 690 for 42 people. So we got 41 here. That would cover that. 41 people would be covered by 3 microbuses, and so at 42, three micro is 690. Yeah. And then there again 3 micro, and then that's 42, so that's as much as it goes. When you have 43, I'm going to zoom out slightly here. You have 43, what are we going to use? I mean, I would just scenario out a few of these, and then you never have to do it again, rather than making a really complicated I mean, you could make a VBA function for this. In fact, you could even base it off of a VLOOKUP table like this, but this is the way I would map it out, because it's actually probably going to be a little simpler in the long run, unless you're making it really, really complicated. But then it is complicated, and you're going to have to just think it through quite a bit. So that's what I would do. I'd go up to 53 and just not worry about it. So you got 43 people. What's your best bet? That is, this times 2 is 52, which would be 800 bucks. And we're looking for a way around that. What's this times 4? That'd be 920 for 4 micros. So for 4 micros, and let's compare that to the 2 minibuses right here. So 2 minibuses is 800 bucks. 4 micros is 920. So where are we at here? We need 43 people. We got to carry 43 people. So pretty much never going to use H1 unless you're just down to the wire with 8 or less people, because the unit cost is just so much better on these microbuses. You almost always want to use those instead. So 43 people, we're back to that again. you can carry 43 people with 2 minibuses at $800 instead of 4 of these, which is $920. So it's a better unit cost to do 2 minibuses up until 52, and then after that you need to go to the microbuses up until 56. So $800, 2 minibuses. It's your best bet at this point, all the way up until, what did we say, up until 52. And including 52. And then when you get above that, you need to start using 4 micros at $920. Now, do we have a pattern emerging? Let's see here. Well, and then we also didn't analyze a minibus and 2 micros. So what's that? One of these. So that's 40 people plus another 14. Mini plus 2 micro. That would be 54. Did we do that scenario yet? No, we didn't. So it'd be 400 plus 460. So it'd be 860. That might actually be a little bit of savings there. Mini and 2 micro. That's 860. So from 52 to 54, we need to do mini and 2 micros. Yes, we sure do. That's $860, so you save a little money there. So you copy this and paste it down. And 55. That's 4 micros at $920. So now, do we have a pattern emerging? Let's see. Mini and a micro. We have six of those. No, I don't really see a pattern here. Too many for quite a bit. You might just take another maybe 20 minutes to finish out a really nice VLOOKUP table. But in that case, I mean, we've got a nice VLOOKUP now. So I'm going to get rid of this stuff. I'm going to shove it over here, out of the way. And let's just add this to our VLOOKUP table here. I know it's probably not the magical solution everybody was wanting, but I'm kind of a uber practical kind of guy, and if it's easier to just do it this way, then do it, man. So we're going to go all the way to, let's just go to C45, hit the check mark. So there's our range. Let's just make a VLOOKUP do that. So if we do 28, oops, I'm going to just comment out all this for now. 28 is 2 micros at 460. What if we wanted 4 of them? Then we've already discussed and discovered that 40 is best served as a mini and a micro at 630 bucks. It's just a simple VLOOKUP here. Now if you want to add VB to that, you can add Visual Basic to that really easily. You can just have like something else to do a VLOOKUP off of that, off of this nice table called My Table. You don't even have to be on the sheet. This sheet could be hidden, and you can still kick some butt. So let's add a little bit of Visual Basic to this. Now that we have a nice simple formula in the background, so let's go ahead and we'll make a simple user form. We'll call this bus or transportation. TRANS. And the caption will be transportation. Calc. Let's put a quick label here. This is going to be enter employees, number of employees. Double click on the lower right hand corner, put a text box here. Whatever goes in the text box is automatically going to calculate on a label. Let's make a nice label right here, maybe at the bottom, and we'll call this description, and we'll call this the price. Copy paste. This should be the easy part. Setting up your table is the tricky part, but you gotta spend a little time doing something, right? Let's highlight both of those, double click on text align left until it goes to right aligned. Now let's make a couple labels right here. The description is going to be right here. Double click there, probably just make it like that, and then we'll copy that blank label and paste it here really quick like this. Let's see, whoops. Alright, they're lined up. Now the first one we're going to rename LBLDESC for description. The next we're going to rename LBL price, PRICE. Okay, so it'll have the description. This will be the price. They'll both be VLOOKUP'd from this. And in fact, we don't need all this junk because that's all we're doing. So let's go ahead and set up our nice little deal here. And this is going to be TB EMP num, some number of employees. So whenever this is changed, just double click. We want to change event on error resume next. That will take care of if it's got any text in it. It just won't calculate anything, or it'll just keep on going until they fix it. So let's go ahead and do this. We got to get a VLOOKUP, right? So we need to get the number value. So let's trap the number in a variable. We need to convert it to a number format. So let's do this. My number equals me.tb employee number, or number of employees rather, plus 0. That will convert to a number. And the on error resume next will not allow it to get a debug screen if it's screwed up. Alright, so now we've converted it to a number, this nice variable called mynum. So let's use that number to do a VLOOKUP. So me.lbl, let's do the description. The description equals application.worksheet function.VLOOKUP. Hit tab. Okay, and we're going to look up what? We're going to look up my num, the number that we just got a moment ago. Where is it found? It's actually, we're going to go ahead and direct it to the actual place that it's located. It's under this workbook.sheets, and the sheet was called sheet 1. That's not capital cap sensitive or case sensitive. Dot range, and what was the range called? It's called my what was it called? My list, my range. Let me see. My table. Okay, good, easy. So my table. That's also not case sensitive, but I just capitalize it for fun. So there's the range. We're looking up my num in the range called that on that sheet, and then we're going to look up in column 2, and we're going to do an approximate. approximate match, which is 1. So if you're familiar with VLOOKUP, if you're not, get familiar because VLOOKUP kicks butt. It is amazing. I'm going to copy that, Control V, paste. Now me.label, the other one was, let's see, .lbl, a price. Here we go, so tab. And of course this is just a simple VLOOKUP in column 3 for the price. So now that we've got that, we've got our user form set up. So let's go ahead and we'll delete this blank sheet here. We'll make this sheet our home sheet, and we'll make it, let's go to view, let's take away the grid lines, take away the headings. Let's insert a nice beautiful little picture or something. Let's just cheat and use some smart art, and we'll say home screen, or we'll say click here to calculate transportation, and we'll Control A to select all, go to the home tab, click the up button a couple times, align it in the center, quite a few more times I guess. Click here to calculate transportation. Now we've got a nice shiny button. Now all we have to do is make a macro that opens up the user form, and the user form is called trans. We named it just a moment ago. So let's make a module, and we'll just make a simple procedure. We'll type sub, and the name of the procedure shall be open trans. And the code, all you need to do for open trans is, let's just say trans dot show. Okay, that's simple, right? So right click on this picture, this shape or whatever, and assign a macro, and we're going to call that open trans. Hit OK. Now when you hover over it, it's got this little thing that's ready to click. So click it. Here we go. So it says enter number of employees. So let's try typing 1. Let's type number 2. So that's 12. Microbus is 230. Now if you type 120, it's going to not give you anything because we haven't made anything on the table for that. But so any changes that you make, let's do 50. You need 2 minis at $800. Let's do 30. What about 32? What about 34? What about 36? 32? 36? Okay, mini and a micro. 32 is mini and an H1. Okay, interesting. 40, 44, 2 minis, 45, 46, 47. Okay, so we have a simple VLOOKUP on our transportation calculator. You know, it may not be the exact best solution out there, but it's the one that I could think of at the time. I'm going to go ahead and save this. You can download this workbook if you want to play around with that. Just check out the video description in the link here. We'll have a link to the Dropbox folder that I share my workbooks on, and it'll be called, what are we going to call this one? Calculate transportation. Simple. Well, we're just going to call it a VLOOKUP table and user form. Okay. Again, there's probably a more elegant way to do that with Visual Basic, but in this case I think that would be a little overkill, and we could just take a few moments, probably a lot less moments than designing this elaborate formula or function, to just set up the table and just analyze it. I mean, if you had like a billion different scenarios, then it would probably be wise to sit down and take a day or whatever to design a function or something. But in this case, you know what? VLOOKUP is awesome. So just set up what you need. If you notice a pattern, then copy and paste it down. So thanks for watching. God bless.